Today. Oh boy, I could have fun with this. The speaker today is our power went out last night, right when I was getting ready to print this huge long resume this person sent me. So I had to do a little Marine Corps ingenuity, and I found a pen. And then she sent me another version, the revised version. Thank God for that. Susan Heine is about ready to. She's so anxious. Come on.
I don't know what you're going to say.
Whatever you wrote, dear, whatever you wrote, I just put a little ants on it. Susan is certified by Unity Worldwide Ministries to teach Unity principles. She's been involved with Unity's teachings since 1987. And the story goes, it all started out in this town down in central southern Indiana called Bloomington. She got introduced to metaphysical teachings, that was in 87. She joined Unity Church in Oak Park, Illinois, outside Chicago in 1989. In the 90s, she did 5 growth retreats at the Unity Village, the mothership in Lee's Summit, Missouri. 2016, she became the licensed Unity teacher. And she also was blessed to have her coordinate our adult ed classes here from Unity Worldwide Ministries. So I've known her since she came here. Like that hot, look at her now. She's something else. And no, I'm not going to tell you about the time that somebody got stuck in an elevator with JFK Jr. and then the doors closed. Well, it worked last time, darn it. So anyways, ladies and gentlemen, this is our own Susan Heine.
Well, I'm not normally nervous, but when Vance is up here, I don't know what to do. Wasn't that a beautiful song? Yes. Thank you so much. It's beautiful. Before I get started, I just want to personally say happy anniversary, Reverend Wanda. Thank you, Reverend Wanda, giving me an opportunity to talk. I stood up there when we were talking about anniversaries, and that is because on July 4th, it is my sobriety anniversary of around 40 years. So. I just tried to do the math in my head. I think it's 38 years. So one day at a time, and today, oh, it's so good to see all your faces. At first, when I first got here, my mind was on a little bit of lack, because I didn't see anybody in these first 2 rows, and I thought, well, why don't you want to sit by me? But it's not about me, right? It's all about you and you that are here. Okay, so we're going to start off with an interactive exercise. Say yay! I'd like for you to turn around in your seat and look at the person behind you. All right. You're looking at that person, and I want you to say these 3 words with gusto. Look at them and say, you are prosperity. You are prosperity. That was was you created energy in this room. Right? You can feel it. That we're more abundant than we were just a little bit ago. When we speak, we create a vibration, and the vibration hangs in the air. So you might want to be, words that I would caution is you might want to know what words you're saying out there, because you are creating a vibration. So we know that words have power, right? You know that all of you that have been in my classes, we've talked about this quite a lot. There's power created in words. Now, you just heard the words that you are prosperity. So let's move that energy, those thoughts that are up here, down to your feeling nature. Maybe some of you feel it in your gut, maybe it's in your heart, but sit there and take a breath in, this energy that's in the room, and feel that you are prosperity. You are. You're the very essence of prosperity. Okay, come back. I have a question for you. How many of you have studied economics? Maybe in high school you took a class, maybe some of you it was your profession. A lot of us, when we were freshmen in college, we took Econ 1 and nobody paid any attention. It was the most boring class in the world. At least I thought so. The conventional thought on this subject in most of those classes, and maybe in a lot of people's mind when they look at the S&P or the Dow, we're looking at numbers. And this conventional thought on the subject is about consumption, how much we're consuming. That's a simple way of saying it. We learn that the more people that purchase the more stuff, the more commercially successful a business can be. Again, I know this is a simple statement, but that's kind of how, when we think of the word economics, we're thinking of that. But I'm going to ask you to put that thought of economics to the side, because it's in this little box and put it over there. So today what we're going to talk about is another way of viewing prosperity, of viewing economics, of viewing spiritual economics. So this form of economics is a divine law. It's a universal law that's always there. It's a law that is never failing. So universal laws do not change. They're not the laws where you're not allowed to jaywalk or run a red light or embezzle if you get caught, like this is not the laws in the book. This is divine law that is a principle. And the law is never failing. So for instance, a universal law, a couple examples might be 2 + 2 = 4. You can't change that. Or if you're in this atmosphere, if you drop something, gravity takes over. So those are principles, those are laws that exist. Unless you have the kind of person that picks it up. There's also universal laws that are divine laws, divine in the universe. And these laws are just like that, they never change. For example, we're talking about spiritual law of economics. Metaphysicians that we know, and we've heard many talk here, that we live in an abundant universe. Now you've heard those words, but do you really own it? Do you know it deep down in your very core? It's an abundant universe. I want you to say that, even if you don't believe it. Just say it. It's an abundant universe. Okay, so if it's an abundant universe, does it run out of good? No. It's there. It's not a resource that you will run out of. So in metaphysics, we look at Jesus, who is our way shower. He demonstrated many different things to us. And one of the things he told us is where the kingdom of heaven is located. Now, the kingdom of heaven, would you think that would run out of abundance? No. So where do you find this kingdom of heaven? It's within us, it's inside, it's us. Do you believe it? You probably heard that, but do you believe it? So, this is up here every Sunday. Be still and know that I am God. This is actually referring to us. We're born in the image and likeness. So, if the kingdom of heaven is located within, if all of you got that quiz right, you'll get a gold star. Is it not? So why are we then looking at people, places, things, institutions to make it all better? Do we look at ourselves? The abundance is available to us all. Okay, so if you're like me, I like how-tos. So how can you tap into this prosperity? If it's available for all and it's invisible, then how do you get there? Well, friends, prosperity, remember, it's not about money. It's not about how much money you have in the bank. It's not about your yearly income that you report and pay taxes on. The key is, what's the key? Right, it's your attitude. It's about you. It's not about all these departments that are running. It's about you. And where does your attitude come from? It comes from your consciousness. What are you holding within you? This attitude is us. It's how we think. It's what our thoughts are. Now, we all get a lot of thoughts that come and go. But what is your predominant thought? What are you thinking about when it comes to abundance and prosperity? What do you say to that? Gratitude. I like that. But some of us, many of us, sometimes think in limited amounts. We might have an attitude of gratitude, but we also, kind of our human nature takes over, and we start seeing things as limited, like there's not enough for all of us. I think sometimes we might think of the goods on the earth as a pie, and you want to get your sliver of that pie because we might run out. But in God's world, we're not going to run out, are we? If we run out, where are your thoughts? What are you focused on? Are you thinking, I got to get my share? Is it not going to be enough? You think, fill it up. I like that. Because we do have choices. You have choice of what you think about. You can think about lack, and that there's not really quite enough. You can pay attention to the news and think the sky is falling, or you can choose to believe that you live in an abundant universe. Now, this abundance is invisible, so sometimes it's hard to trust, to have faith that it's there. But let me ask you, what are you holding in your consciousness? Remember, what you hear here often is your thoughts, not somebody else's thoughts. your thoughts create your reality.
Yeah.
Your thoughts have power. Your thoughts create words, and words set up a vibration. And what you are thinking in here, concentrating on, that's what gets manifest out there. So it's your responsibility. It's not everybody else's responsibility. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
But we are human. How can we turn off that lack thought that just kind of creeps in and you get a little scared? Like I mentioned, just something simple as nobody was sitting up front. I'm like, oh. So I say take focus off of yourself. So what I'm saying is it's really simple, but it's not easy. Some of you might be familiar with that terminology. Simply stated, establish yourself in the consciousness of the divine substance that's there. Jesus said at the Sermon on the Mount, Mount 633, first seek his kingdom and his righteousness. All things shall be yours as well. Now, I'm not making this stuff up. It's been around. So, let us take Jesus' words and what many metaphysicians and other people say is, what are you focused on? So all things shall be yours, what it is that you're focused on. So if you're focused on lack, that's what eventually you will see. I know in Course in Miracles that Ruth conducts, when I was attending it, it was said, if you're looking out and all you see is lack, turn and look out a different window and start praising what you see. It's not somebody else's responsibility, it's yours. It's on you. You with me?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So what I know about me is I do not need to be a victim of economic fluctuation in the outer world. There has been times in my life when I did feel that way. I've been around a long time, been in the workforce a long time. In the 80s, there was an economic recession. The cost of goods were high. The unemployment lines were long. We were out the door, around the block. The interest rate for housing was high, and it was hard to find a place to rent. My mind was focused on lack. Poor me, poor me, poor me, poor me. So at the unemployment office, they were passing out free food, which were blocks of government processed cheese and bags of beans. So instead of being thankful that I had something to eat, I was, I think of the next word, angry. So I was focused on lack. You expect me to do this stuff. But focus on lack meant it was very hard for me to find a job. And I found 4 low-paying part-time jobs. Cleaning houses and other things like that. So it was a slow process. It's slow. Some of you it's not, but for me it was slow letting go of those thoughts of lack and thoughts that other people can fix in other situations. And I just kept surrendering, saying, I know there's got to be another way, but I couldn't see the other way. And through many unusual situations, which now I say were put in my path, you could say serendipity, I think my higher power was looking out for. I just began, somebody lent me a book, and the book was Charles Fillmore, who I had no idea who that was. And the book was on prosperity, and it seemed like a foreign language, like he's speaking Greek or something. But I didn't really know what else to do. So I started taking this in. This is when I was living in Bloomington, and it was a book study group. It wasn't Unity, it was just, they were studying this book. So by listening to this book, reading this book, then I was directed to a Unity minister who was on TV late at night, and he was a Unity minister from Detroit. His name is Jack Boland. Jack Boland's ministry was all about prosperity. At least that's what I thought it was at that time. I really thought he was speaking to me, and I took it in. Slowly but steadily, my mind let go of victimhood, and I moved out of poverty.
Okay.
And I was able to finish a degree that I'd been working on forever. And was moved to DC for a while, and then Chicago. My career just kept growing, and I found a Unity church. I found out there was such a thing as Unity, and I was so happy. But I want to say that it's an ongoing process. Reading the daily word every day, volunteering when I can. It's moving from what feels like thoughts of lack to knowing that I am prosperous. I'm a beloved child of God. How can I be anything else but prosperous? So the next major recession that I went through was in the 2000s, but this one wasn't emotionally as hard. I did lose all my life savings, and I had a large mortgage to pay off, but again, focusing on God, thoughts came in on ways, creative ways that I could do, and I did, and I definitely stayed focused on the Unity principles. One of them is using denial and affirmations. So I'd say it all day long. In spite of what is out there, I am a beloved child of God. Or I'd say, I decided to put my condo up for sale, and all the people in the building would go, oh my God, there could be a worse time to do that. And cancel, you know, I'm not going to put those thoughts in my mind. And I would say the right person at the right time will show up and buy this place. And she did. So I think probably Bill will definitely relate to that, because I heard your story where the right person at the right time bought your house that way. Affirmations, they work, but for me, I also need the denial part. And that's not denying that, you know, it's not the current thought of denial. This is just saying the outer situation doesn't have power over me. Power is within me in my relationship to a higher power, my God. Letting go of victim, letting go of lack, I just can't enough say how that attitude will help you. It'll help you to have an attitude of prosperity. At least it did for me and many of you that are here. So our co-founder is Charles Fillmore. And he states over and over in the 20, 30 books he wrote, focus on the divine within you and see yourself in the universal flow. This would be a great place for you to get up and play the guitar, Michael. Target your bass. Hear that flow. So I don't see myself as a creative person. I'm not musical or the arts. However, what I do know is my thoughts help create my life. And I like to have fun, and I like to have a good life. So I'm doing what Charles Fillmore suggested, and I'm focused on the divine within and see myself in the universal flow. Bob does this wonderful meditation on the first Wednesday of every month, and listening to him and the music helps me stay in this universal flow. So I would encourage you all to come to the next one, which is in August. Thinking pleasant thoughts, thinking that you're in the universal flow helps create ideas. And these creative ideas can attract prosperity to you. So I encourage you to let go of lack. Prosperity is a way of thinking and living. It's not about money, it's about being a co-creator with the divine. Everybody agree with that?
Yeah.
Just say yes. For now, today. Okay, so you say let go of lack. How do you do that? What action can we take? So unity suggests the spiritual law of giving and receiving. Charles Fillmore, our co-founder, says in his phenomenal book, this is one of my favorite books, The Revealing Word. We have this in the books? We have this in March's place. It's filled with many, many wisdoms. One of the things he says here about the law of giving and receiving is substance, which is the ethers out there, must have both an inlet and an outlet in your consciousness to keep moving. In other words, you just can't keep taking. You also have to give. But you can't just keep giving. So it comes in and it goes out. Simply stated, everyone must receive freely and give freely. Readiness to give and readiness to receive is equally essential. This is how one prospers. So giving and receiving is one of the actions we can take to help get rid of that lack consciousness. Remember, there's an invisible, ever-present, pliable, divine substance. This substance is always there for you. It's in the form of energy, it's in the form of words that you choose, it's in the form of what you focus on. There's no place in the universe where this substance is any more present or any less present than right here where you are. It's always there for you. You have to make the choice of what's on your mind. So I encourage you in your mind to focus on that divine. You know, every Sunday here at Unity, we light this candle. And we say, this is the Christ candle. Now, what are we talking about? So, at Unity, we refer to the I am, the divineness within you, as the Christ. We don't say that Jesus, the way show in Nazareth, was, his last name wasn't Christ. Christ is that spirit within you. And knowing that that's there, you can then realize there's a limitless substance which will find expression through your creative ideas based on what you're focused on. Okay, see some nods, great. All right, so in summary, Unity minister and author Eric Butterworth, he talks about having a wealthful consciousness. In other words, like healthy, he calls it wealthy consciousness. And in his book, Spiritual Economics, he gives tips on how to develop this wealth consciousness. I boiled it down to 4. It's a big book, but this is what I got out of it, and I think it'll help you. One way to move away from lack is to pay attention to what you're focused on. Focus on the omnipresent, divine, universal substance. Some of you will call it God, some of you will call it the Christ within. I call it spirit. And number 2, and I know this group is really good at this, use visualization. See yourself not as a victim, but as a victor. In Romans 12:2, be transformed by the renewal of your mind. So this isn't anything new. This has always been around. You know? What are you thinking about? Visualize yourself selling that condo like I did, that house you wanted that you found. And Linda mentioned this earlier, number 3, be grateful. If we can find what we're grateful for, it really lifts our hearts. So Paul said, in all things give thanks. In all things. So maybe even unemployment, or you're paying more for bread. In all things give thanks. So I found this very interesting. According to Eric Butterworth, he said that ancient Greeks, Plato said, he claimed, a grateful mind is a mind which attracts to itself great things.
Amen.
That was said a long time ago, way before Jesus preached. So we've known this. Don't know it's good, but we do know it. And what was said earlier, one must receive and give in love and in service. So lastly, I'm going to just say, Charles Fillmore states, the purpose of life is not acquisitions, but unfoldment of your spiritual development. Andrea, do you have that slide? No. Okay. All right, so let's talk about what Charles Fillmore just said. The purpose of life is not acquisition, but unfoldment of your spiritual development. Unity has 5 principles that helps you develop your spiritual development. And I'm just going to talk about 1, 3, and 5. So some of you know this, right? Sure, man. So 1 is the divine is everywhere. It doesn't change, it just is. You don't have to plead, you don't have to beg, it just is. It's always there, it's always good. And 3 is you are a co-creator. So what we've been saying, what's on your mind, gets produced out there. But this is the last thing I'm going to mention, and it's principle number 5. And it's something to really take to heart. Because Eric Butterworth talked about wealth, and wealth having a good life. You can attend classes for 20 years, you can come here every single Sunday, you can feel good, and the key would be to apply these things that you hear. Give it a try. Try for this next week to say, I'm going to observe myself, and when I hear myself thinking lack, I'm going to use an affirmation that I am prosperous. Anybody want to take that challenge on? Yeah. Okay, good. Good, good, good. All right, well, go with the flow. We don't have what we're going to show you, but we do have a short meditation that we can do. So if you would, close your eyes. Take a deep breath in. And as you are sitting there thinking about how prosperous you are, that you're a beloved child of God, you were created in God's image, you let go, letting go of worry, doubt, lack. And in this moment, in this here and now, we invite the divine presence. It's always there, but you invite it right now to let its being known to you. Centered in this awareness, you can go forward. What a joy and comfort it is to know that you have this good life. There is abundance everywhere. So trust in the process. Trust in letting go. Trust that it's there for you, and you are responsible for your thoughts. With that, I ask you to come back. Open your eyes, wiggle your toes, your body. Take those thoughts with you. And as our friend Lance comes back up, I'm going to ask you to one more time with zeal, because zeal is one of our 12 powers, to say, I am prosperity. I am prosperity. Thank you, everyone.